Welcome you all to the CEO Talk Kolkata. This is an initiative by the Talk. The theme of today's session is Rising to the Challenge with Tech Advantage. My name is Muthu and I'm the founder of Crumbles, an organic cookies brand. CEO Talk is a platform to share ideas, insights to transform organizations to create a better and transparent forum for meaningful business relationships and partnerships. This event is brought to you by Tata Telebusiness Services. It is the country's leading enabler of connectivity and communication solutions for businesses. They offer services ranging from connectivity, collaboration, cloud IoT security, and marketing solutions. Tata Telebusiness Services offers largest portfolio of ICT services for businesses in India. I would like to start this panel discussion by introducing the eminent panelists who have joined us today. Now, I know this is a virtual session, but please let us all give a good round of applause as I introduce their names so that we have a good energy flowing inside the room. I'd like to start the session by introducing Mr. Subir Mukherjee, founder and managing director of Gibble.in. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Muthu. Glad to be here. And good morning to everyone and all the viewers as well.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Followed by Mr. Kaushik Sarkar, Vice President Marketing and Strategy, CEO, Velia Fresh Foods and Beverages Private Limited, Vinod Novus. Welcome, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us, sir.
Yeah, I'm very pleased to be here. And I wish all the success and the best to all the viewers and the panelists too.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Followed by Mr. Bikram Kumar Saraf, Director, Squarewood Projects Private Limited. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Muthu, and thank you for giving me the opportunity for being here. And I welcome all the panel members and really thankful to the talk. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We also have Mr. Anish Agarwal, CEO, Unite Technologies Private Limited. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone and welcome the panelists.
We're also expecting Soumya Pratap Das, the head of IT, TCG Life Sciences, to join with us very shortly. I'm very pleased to recognize and welcome the presence of Mr. Gaurav Varshne, Marketing Head, Tata Telebusiness Services. Welcome, sir.
Hi, Muthu. Good morning, and good morning to all the panelists here. And on behalf of Tata Telebusiness Services, I really want to thank you for taking out your prestigious time to talk about this relevant topic, which is which is so permanent at this point of time. So thank you very much, and really looking forward to hear from all of you. I mean, I'm already having some of the words that Mr. Kaushik just spoke about, while we were just having a test run. But really glad to be here.
Thank you, Gaurav, sir. We'd also like to request you to give a brief opening remarks for today's session. Over to you, sir.
Sure. Thank you, Muthu. Thank you for setting this up. And as I said, I really want to welcome all the panelists here, Mr. Vikram, Mr. Subir, Mr. Kaushik. The topic that we have chosen for this CXO summit or CXO discussion is quite relevant here in this scenario, specifically when we've been working from home for the last 6-8 months now, and fortunately things are opening up. Normally from Tata Telebusiness Services to these kind of roundtables in a physical environment where we have CXOs from various organizations sitting across the table, having a cup of tea or a coffee in hand, and having a chat around what's happening on the economy side, what's happening on maybe on the political side as well. But I think the pandemic has forced us to be in our homes, talk virtually to everybody, maybe look at it, look at our faces virtually. But hopefully things are opening up, and I think what has gone by in the last year has taught all of us a great deal in terms of the use of technology, the need of technology, and maybe the updation which is required from an SME point of view. So I think it'll be really glad to hear from all of you going forward, and I'm really looking forward for a fantastic session. Thank you.
Thank you, Gaurav sir, for setting up the tone on a really positive note for today's session. So when you're looking back at the last 1 year, it has been really a roller coaster ride for all of us. This pandemic has hit all our lives really hard, both on the personal and the professional front, which is far beyond imagination, right? So speaking about which, I would like to start today's panel discussion with a very generic question. How has pandemic affected your business and its impact on your revenues? So I'd like to start from Mr. Bikram.
Yeah, thank you, Muthu, for this wonderful question. You see, we always believe that the only constant in business is change, not only in business but in our personal life as well. But as everybody knows that the pandemic, the official shutdown started from 23rd of March, and we were almost closed for 2.5 months. But the environment in India supported us a lot, because just the time when the entire economy opened up from 1st of June, we were ready with all our infrastructure, since we were quite equipped with lot of infrastructure at our various sites, and to some extent at our top management also had proper infrastructure at their home. So we took it very nicely. We did not waste other than the 2.5 months, and we were fortunate enough that technology helped us. The introduction of the online platforms like Zoom really helped us, and yes, 2 months were lost, but I think once we complete March, we will close the year with a very positive note. So we are not in much stress, if you honestly ask us.
Thank you, Bikram. I think someone is already on a very positive note. And yes, over to Mr. Kaushik, sir.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Before I start, I must thank Tata Tele, because I'm from telecom background, but I was under the impression Tata Tele does not exist. I thought it has been out of the system. Thank you. This initiative has made us aware that Tata Tele is still there. Anyway, Muthu, in your speech, you said it was a roller coaster year. Sorry, I strongly differ to this. It cannot be a roller coaster. It's a great learning for the entire century, for the entire world, that a world can come to a stall for 90 days. He was talking about 2.5 months. I'm sure it's not less than 100 days. And the only opportunity I have, because I represent an FMCG industry where technology doesn't work out. Technology definitely work out 20%. Balance 80% is physical existence. Otherwise, you will be out of system. I'm audible?
Yes,
yes,
yes, you
Yeah.
are.
The thing is, 100 days we are off, and the only option remain for us is to write off that 100 days from our system. There is no other opportunity remain. And see, the most affected segments are automobile, real estate, tourism, hotel industry, that includes hotel industry, and entertainment. But we represent a segment which does not affect it at all. But some scrupulous channel partners has forced us to delay their payment. Somebody has gone without making payment with the cause of pandemic, and that is absolutely an excuses. I'm sure any FMCG company, irrespective, if you go through their capital market records, you will find everybody has gained because during this pandemic. And my brand has made incredible losses because my channel partners, I'm very candid in my expression, my channel partners has deferred in paying and somebody has gone without paying. It is a huge loss to the balance sheet of my company. And that they have taken the advantage. So the thing is, it was not roller coaster. We want to write off that 100 days from our system. But it is a great learning for everyone that any moment such a tsunami can come where the world can be resolved, which we never thought of. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaushik, sir. I think you're very aggressive with your answers, and
I'm very tense because 100 days have to write off from the system. Can you imagine the revenue loss we have made? And each of the channel partners has backstabbed us.
True.
They have taken the advantage without it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaushik sir. And I think one thing which we can definitely take from his perspective is it was definitely a good learning for all of us, and the chances of survival, I mean, instinct survival has been
This
at the par.
generation has seen tsunami. This generation has seen pandemic of 100 days. This generation has seen, almost 2 pandemics in the world. These are the 3 segments. I mean, in 2008, the entire world economy, global economy was at a stake. In 2008 to 10. Then again in 2020, there was a huge backlash. You can imagine the OPEC prices has come down, and
Yes,
there was a curve shift downwards towards direct foreign investment to Indian market, which inversely affected every segment of the system.
And sorry to disturb, sir. Like, I'll come back to you hearing more. Yes, I would like to hear from Subir, sir. Yes, your perspective, sir.
Thank you, Muthu. And first of all, I want to thank Tata Tele and yourself to organize such a fantastic event. And this actually gives us to give a talk about the situation we have faced over the last 12 months. And I'll just say GIBL, we are actually an insurance distribution platform. And we do phygital network like, retail chain and also agent. And I think 2 industries who were mostly got benefited out of this pandemic is insurance sector, IT and pharmaceutical. So luckily we were not that hit like, Kaushik was saying for 100 days or so. It was a system change. Like all of a sudden when there was a lockdown, we have a call center. So the call center setup was totally based on office. People used to come and there is a server and they used to do all these things. So it was a huge challenge for the first, say, 2 to 3 weeks. But by that time, our IT team actually did very well. They created an app through which anybody of our people, they can download it and start connecting with the CRM system and start making calls. And the calls gets recorded. So that was a kind of an innovation challenge for our development team to shift from office-based call center to individual person they're calling from home, and that connects to the server. So we did that very well. Within 3 weeks, we're up running in a full-fledgedly, and the rest of the things was pretty IT-oriented, and wherever they had good internet connection, broadband connections, didn't have any problem. In terms of managing, obviously, when you work from home, I think, whatever you can get done in 8 hours face-to-face in office environment, it takes probably 10 to 12 hours. So all the managers, they have to spend more in terms of coordinating. But at the same time, luckily, we are in the insurance distribution business. So there was a huge demand for corona policies, health policies, life policies. So business was growing month on month. Obviously, March, April, it was a bit down, but then it was pretty good. And I think one thing we all learned that probably face-to-face meeting is not that required as we think. Probably 80-90% things could be done in online meetings. A lot of things could be achieved. And I think it probably saved a lot of money to the businesses as well for traveling cost and, unnecessary spending, also the time when you are commuting from one place to another place. So, I think those are all the positive sides. There are loads of negative sides you can talk about, but I think I'm a person who wants to, take positive things of everything. And I think, we have learned a lot. We probably as a business saved a lot. And probably, we will use this lesson for, coming challenges and overcome those as well.
Thank you, Subir sir. Is over to Anish sir.
Yeah, thanks. I think it's a very relevant question in today's age. Just to provide a bit of context before I delve into the answer from my part. We are an online pharmacy startup, and it had only been almost 1.5 years while we had started that the lockdown happened. So relatively young, we were everyone was calling me and saying ki, you are the lucky guy in the pharmacy sector, but there are the both sides of the coin. So I think in this pandemic, most of the companies which had strong balance sheets, had strong cash on the balance sheets, really survived. They did really well. We as a young startup did not have a lot of cash on our balance sheet at that point in time, but I think that was a key learning that, bro, have some money. Don't be the bootstrapped guy. And that is when we went ahead and we, fastened up our fundraising process and everything. In fact, we raised funds 3 times last year. It was a blessing in disguise in a way that the investors had a very, very strong interest in the pharmacy sector at that point in time. Although I must add here that all was not rosy, all was not bad. On the other side, we had lost 1 quarter. April, May, June was almost lost. It was a dip in revenue. Although the demand side and online adoption had picked up in online pharmacy space, supply side was a big pain point because a lot of staff used to travel from suburban areas and they were not reaching the CNF and the distributors and even our warehouses. So I think, yes, 1 quarter lost. Otherwise, I think the business has really picked up year-on-year basis. We have grown tremendously. And yeah, that's from my end on the business front.
Thank you, Anish sir. Yes, I think yet again we have another one person who really had the COVID as a blessing in disguise. Thank you so much, Anish sir. And moving forward, like one thing which we all entrepreneurs get connected is the thought process of what next, right? So whatever the problem lies in front of us, or whatever the chaos is lying in front of us, we're always trained to look forward of what next. So on that note, I would like to understand how do you foresee the financial year closing, on a positive note or on a negative note? So what is your perspective? So I'd like to start again with Mr. Vikram sir.
Thanks, Muthu. So you see, we have got a lot of now post-pandemic. The learning has been so tremendous. I'll just stress upon two main factors. You see, our culture actually praises everybody for being busy all the time. You know, the ecosystem of our culture has been such. But post-pandemic, we have learned that we need not do so many meetings. Physical meetings need not be done so many times. So online meetings are equally effective, and we can continue the same momentum in the business by doing online meeting. That saves a lot of money at the end of the financial year. We actually are now realizing that a lot of fixed cost has come down. So having said that, and on one more thing I would like to add, that you know, as a businessman, we have always seen that we were used to doing a lot of meetings in a day. At the end of the day, we used to find that we are doing 20-25 meetings every day. And trust me, I feel that we used to waste a lot of time in doing those physical meetings. Some meetings were not required to be done for an hour. It was just a 5 minutes discussion. We used to do it for 1 year. So having said that, I feel that if you see in with regard to the cost of the time, we have saved a lot. So at the end of the year, after, I think once we close this financial year, I'm quite sure that we will not be, we cannot compare ourselves with the previous year. But as a company, as an entrepreneur, I'm very satisfied with the overall performance, though we lost approximately 75 to 100 days in this year.
Thank you, Vikram sir. Is over to Kaushik sir?
Yeah, the thing is, I'm very candid in my expression, my views. And I'm feeling envy to everyone, all the panelist speakers, because barring me, all have gained. And believe me, that the kind of loss we have achieved not because of demand. There was no cartel in demand. There was absolutely, the demand curve was rising. But yes, definitely the backward integration was not perfect. The system delivery side was not perfect. And you see how the technology comes. If you need a physical product, this will not survive how smart your technology is. Insurance definitely can be done with, online. But what about my product, which has to be delivered? It has to be picked from the godown, from the factory. It has to be delivered. Entire supply chain should work properly. And we have got a lot of effect on during that period. Now, coming back to what we have learned into the system, definitely what Vikram says, that we have invested a lot of time in interacting with people in meetings. But believe me, I have a strong support in physical meeting. working from, I sometimes, one of my friend who is working as a very CEO of a very big 65,000 crore company, and he's working from home. How does it survive? How it is not possible. I mean, people who are into delivery work, they can do online. But people who are into strategy, people who want to develop ideas and thoughts and innovations, they cannot do it online. You have to be interactive with people, with market. My physical, if I don't go to the market, I cannot get the feel and pulse of the consumer. My physical visit is absolutely necessary to go to the market, for especially for an FMCG company like us. I have to get the actual pulse of the consumers. That is very much essential. But anyway, it has both side of the coin. We both have learned we have to curtail our cost while traveling. Monthly meeting has cut down to weekly meeting, and that too virtually. But market visits and physical demonstrations of consumers' appearance and consumers' demand has to be a feel go to the market. Now coming back to Acha, carry on. Yeah.
Thank you, Kaushik sir. Yes, I think again I would like to repeat the question: is how do you foresee the financial year closing on a positive or negative aspect? I would like to understand the perspective of Subir sir. Over to you.
So how, going forward, how we feel like, how the business is going to be? Is that the question, right?
Yes, how do you foresee the financial year closing? So this financial year closing.
Yeah, financial year, I think probably it helped us. I don't want to make Kaushik more envy after that. But I think that was probably, but at the same time, it was probably could have been better from the previous year, because we always see growth, month on month growth. But I think this pandemic situation helped us, and insurance, as you mentioned, like there are a lot of traditional providers as well, being online and tech based, so that actually helped us as well. And I think challenge is something you need to overcome as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, and you need to find out a way around it, or you need to do something about it. So a challenge never bothered me, and I think the more challenge it is probably better. As they say, like when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. So I think it will be positive, and we over the say last 5-6 months. We have find out a lot of new avenues where we can expand the businesses, and new ideas. Some of them we are going to implement into the coming days. So I'm looking forward towards it.
Okay. Thank you, Subir sir. Is over to Anish sir. I like to listen to you.
Yeah, so I think this has been one of the most unique financial years ever for everyone. Fortunately for us, it's on an upward trend. We would be closing probably more than 100% up this financial year. So yeah, that's it for the closing of this financial year.
All right. So yes, again we have people who foresee it both ends, like all the positive and the negative again.
I would like to add on. I would like to add on to here,
yes,
because I've been in the marketing side for a good number of years, and I've been discussing various CXOs across the panel for the last 5-6 months. I can easily say that most of the people have actually come out and said, what, it's going to end on a positive note. So I don't know whether it was a roller coaster or it was obviously people have lost their lives and everything, but for a business, I think most of them have come out and clearly said, it's going to be on a positive note, where a lot of organizations have actually done a lot of innovation and have invested into various technologies to kind of to manage it so well. Imagine this situation for 100 days, companies not working, as Mr. Kaushik said, and suddenly, we're talking on an upward trends and, making a positive impact. So I think that's been a good year, honestly, in terms of financials for most of the organizations.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you, Gaurav sir. And I'm also very happy.
At one point,
I'm surprised to see that a lot of yes, sir.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to say, like India, or we Indians as a nation, we can be anything but not disciplined that much, like probably developed towards. And I think these pandemic things actually taught us a lesson that we need to be more disciplined, and maybe we became a bit more disciplined. So I think that's probably another positive side of it.
Totally true, sir. I think at this juncture, I'd like to pull in Gaurav sir to understand his perspective on how or what should a company do to secure its network and assets. So what should a company do to secure its network and assets? Over to Gaurav, sir.
Yeah, I think, thank you, Muthu. Thank you for asking this question. I think quite relevant here. Um, I mean, what should an organization do to secure its networks and assets? Okay, so let me put it this way. You have a multi-layer security at your homes, right? You have a security at your main gate, then you have security at your tower, and then you have a security, let's say, maybe in your your locker in your Almira, right? Similarly, as an organization, you need to invest in a 3-layer or a 4-layer security system. Now, how does that work? For a good security, cyber security posture, you need to have a firewall or a web security at your gateway level. Then you need to have the endpoint security at the device level, and then finally at the email security. Because at the end of the day, you have 1,000 people, 500 people working, exchanging emails with vendors, with organizations, with people outside the organization. So I think the email security also plays a very important role. Along with that, what as an organization, specifically SME as an organization, what you can do is you actually can add a multi-factor authenticity also along with it. Now, which actually means you are controlling the endpoint devices, you're controlling the email security, you're controlling the web security, and then adding a multi-factor. I think that's where the whole ecosystem of a complete secured environment can be provided to an organization. That's what I feel, and I think it's quite relevant here, considering the kind of cybersecurity threats which are coming along our way. Everybody knows about what happened with the WhatsApp recently, and I don't want to name organizations here, but it's been a real threat now, and it's actually taking place on a bigger level now than ever, because we all know working remotely now, most of the organizations are working from home. Only very selected few are going to the offices. Let's say I'm using my personal Wi-Fi, somebody else is using their mobile hotspot. So it's a complete open network that everybody's playing, and that's where this becomes really, really important.
Thank you, Gaurav. And since you spoke about cybersecurity, I do have a question based on that, but let me come back to you a little later for that. But I'd like to take one thing from what you've said. So the work from home concept. So before pandemic, this work from home was a very debatable topic, whether people had a lot of consumptions, whether this could work, or whether there were a lot of doubt. But after pandemic, this has become the reality. So now the entire world is moving towards remote working or work from home. At this junction, I'd like to understand from you panelists, what do you think is going to be very effective for your business? Is it going to be the conventional office model, or is it going to be work from home, or is it going to be hybrid? But instead of asking your voicing out, I would like to understand from your actions this time. So if you think that the office setup is going to work for you, give me a thumbs up using your left hand. Or if it is going to be the work from home, give me a thumbs up using a right hand. Or if it's going to be hybrid, just give me a namaste. So what is it going to be? Okay, so
for us, it's going to be hybrid for sure.
Okay, for Gaurav sir, it's hybrid. I think Anish sir and Kaushik sir, you prefer the office model, regular office model.
Yeah, fully office model.
The question is not what I prefer. The question is what really work for us.
Okay.
Physical appearance in offices is highly essential for us. It is no other way. Definitely, e-commerce has taken a lot of segment, definitely. But what is the percentage of e-commerce in India now? 13%.
Okay.
And that too concentrated in only metros. What about semi-urban areas? The reach is not there.
Okay.
Even if you go to Patna, and if you go to outskirts of Patna, there is no reach of e-commerce. Horrible. And one product is supplied after 15-20 days.
Okay.
So it is a simultaneous work. We need a system infrastructure to be delivered to at least 90% of our semi-urban areas.
Okay.
Our brand, more we are stronger because of semi-urban. My product doesn't have much of validity in a city like metro cities like Calcutta, Bombay, Delhi. We are most prominent in semi-urban areas. Okay. So I need that semi-urban areas to be strengthened.
Okay. Thank you, Kaushik sir. Subir sir and Vikram sir, what are your views? Which is going to work for you? Any thumbs up or namastes from you?
Muthu, I personally feel that that we cannot have a universal approach of having said that we can have a work from home model or a full office setup model. It has to be, it depends on the business model of your company. So I think the best model which I look across after seeing so many companies is that, barring the IT companies, I think it is the hybrid model is going to work, because you see, we are still currently, if you see the business across the country, the business is suffering from the supply chain management. You go to, you order a lot of products, barring the FMCG products, the industrial products, the automobile section, there is no supply. If you are willing to go and buy a product, suppose if you are going to order a four-wheeler, there's a 4 months, 5 months, 6 months waiting. Can you imagine? So there lies the real problem. And without physical interaction, without the engineers being at the site, at the factories, the proper workers being at the factory, work cannot happen. So the online model cannot only help, it has to be a hybrid model, and it depends on the company which you are running actually.
Vikram, one thing. The thing
sorry to interrupt, sir. I'll come back to you, Kaushik, sir. Like, we have a few more questions pending.
I'm respond to this, Vikram CA. The supply chain is affected because that pause of 100 days.
Right,
otherwise,
sir.
it would be normal once again.
Okay. Right, sir. All right. So, Subir, sir, what was your answer?
I think I do agree with Vikram, whatever he's saying, like, it has to be a hybrid model. And obviously, depending on your business model, you need to see which portion or which section you can do from home and online only. Like, we are a digital distribution, so that helps. But, I'm sure a lot of traditional businesses, a lot of functionalities, like, whoever is IT related, that could be done work from home, that portion, that functionalities. But certain cases when you do delivery, it has to be done physically. Otherwise, like, you have to invent something like a drone and, deliver it through the drone, and those kind of innovation, you need to think how it works. But, for the full scale things, that's probably good for a prototype and other things, or for when you are depending on a business, how quickly and how efficient you can do, all those things will come into play. But I think most of the businesses, we need to, at this stage, we need to start thinking if we can actually make some portion of the business functionality as a hybrid mode, like work from home, and as little as possible on a physical model. So that's, I think, will be my suggestion.
Thank you, Subir, sir. So, like, again, a mixture of answers. We have people who prefer the office setup, and then we have people who prefer the hybrid model as well. Yes, moving forward, I again request the panelists to have a hard check on your perspectives. Moving forward, one thing in this pandemic, what Subir said and earlier said about the discipline part, one thing which I would like to share is, this technology has already been there. It's already been into existence, but this pandemic forced us, to explore and to get used to it. I think that is the right thing I can put forward. On that note, I would like to understand from you panelists. So, what kind of technology adoption you initiated during the lockdown to ensure business continuity? The technology adoption you did for your business to ensure the business continuity. I'd like to start with Vikram, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Muthu. So you see, during the entire lockdown, we knew that we will not be able to sell any of our products, since we being in the low cost housing, and we were also catering to a lot of built to suit models for the bigger brands in the retail sector. So what we did was that, we told our digital marketing agency to inform the target audience more about the product rather than selling the product. So we increased our digital marketing expenses twice during the pandemic. So the idea was very simple, that if in these 2 months we can make the customers aware of the brand, of the company, of the product, possibly once the lockdown opens up, maybe we will be able to fetch some kind of value in the product. We will have more site visits, we'll have more awareness of the products. So apart from that, we did a lot of interaction with our suppliers in the supply chain management. We just had an interaction with them in the Zoom call meetings to understand the new products which may come in the future. So you see, the biggest challenge for any entrepreneur right now is that they are, at times they become rigid about the constant usage of their existing product. So we explored a lot of new products in this pandemic, and that was only possible through the multiple online meetings, through mostly through Zoom calls we did. So once the pandemic ended, I mean from June onwards, we were lucky enough that we were able to connect with the suppliers properly, start the projects from the 3rd, or I believe from 3rd June we started. It was a challenge, but we were fortunate that we started the sites. We are able to bring the workers at site. So
Okay.
yeah, that's all.
All right. So digital marketing has been one technology adoption from Bikram sir's side. Is over to Kaushik sir.
Yeah, for us, same. We have expend a lot of money on digital marketing. Lot. I mean, the budget has increased almost double thrice. Number one. Secondly, we have introduced a software system. We had a sister system, but that was not operating well because most of the people who are into the rural segment, semi-urban segment, they are complaining that the data service is not available in the remote places. So we make sure we have adopted one brand and we have taken that brand, who is number one in India now. You are aware of that brand. I'm not using that brand. I don't want to promote my brand, that brand at free of cost. We have spent a lot of money to make sure all of my grassroots people, I mean, should have that data services and make sure that, and that has worked very well. We have increased our digital expenses, marketing expenses, and we have made sure that each and every member, grassroots member, have that brand available on their mobile, and we paid extra on that so that they can adopt that brand and take their data services to make them available wherever, whenever.
Okay.
And as you said, so far Burley is concerned and my startup venture is concerned, this no way we are able to survive without physical appearance in the market.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. So again, someone has really put on effort to make sure that everyone has the data services. Yes, thank you, Kaushik sir. Over to Subir sir.
Yeah. For ourselves, we are InsurTech, so technology adoption is always there. So rather than what we did, I would say what effect it did to the society. I just want to highlight on that. If you look into all, say, the education system, government schools, primary schools in the villages, they actually adopted WhatsApp-based teaching process. So they are sending classes, class notes, people are actually recording, the teachers are recording tutorials on the smartphone and sending it to they have created a group in WhatsApp and sending it to the teachers. And there are constant instruction from government level as well that utilize this. So I think, that's where the major technology adoption actually taken place, which we couldn't imagine is going to take place in the next 5 or 10 years if the pandemic was not there. And also to the mindset of the people who were to some extent, technology adverse. Maybe I'm not, try to make it, but name it, but if in general, say 55 plus or 60 plus people, they actually are, not that tech savvy, and now they think, professionally that doesn't need to involve, they can get away for the rest of their life without not being involved. But now they understand, they have to be in a Zoom call, they have to be in a Google Meet, they need to know how to, manipulate all those things. So they have understood that there's no way, and that's how the technology adoption actually changed all this portion of the society. Rather than business has to do it, but people who are not supposed to do it, now they are quite happy to do it.
Okay, thank you, Subir. So as you said, technology did took upon us real hard during this last 1 year. Is over to Anish sir.
Yeah, so we are an online pharmacy which is focused on delivering in semi-urban and rural. We don't have much of the markets in metro. We were built for semi-urban and rural, right? So what we have found during this entire tenure is that we have invested heavily on the mobile app, which we earlier did not. We created our mobile app in 4 languages, in Bengali, in Odia, in Hindi, in English, so that the customer adoption goes up. It has gone up from, earlier, only 5% of our orders were on mobile app. Right now, 15% of our orders is on mobile app. We have during this phase adopted the entire call center model. A lot of technologies are involved in there. We have created one for ourselves, wherein the customer can come in and very easily place an order with us. So that was an adoption of text ordering and a lot of innovations in app. From the marketing standpoint, yes, like a lot of gentlemen here, earlier we used to acquire a lot of customers through offline marketing, out of home advertisement, but digital advertising became our backbone in the Q1 of the current financial year. Apart from that, people working in home, it really pushed us to have better project management policies and the appropriate softwares in place so that the IT and tech can be developed in a more wonderful way. And also taking a part of the last question which we asked, and I saw that some of us we did have problems in delivering to the semi-urban rural areas. I would be happy to welcome the panelists here to exercise or try out our service. We also, along with our in-house brand Sabse Sasta Dukaan, which is a pharmacy, we also have a brand called Fly, which is the subset of Sabse Sasta Dukaan, and it is a logistics company delivering in one day in all the semi-urban and rural areas. So Kaushik da, you're most welcome if we could help you out.
All right. Thank you, Anish, sir. Yes, at this moment, I would like to, pull in again Gaurav, sir, so that I would like to understand your perspective on something very interesting. So as we were talking about cybersecurity, I would like to ask you this question. Why has cybersecurity become an even bigger threat in the virtual remote work environment? And to what extent have the businesses been able to deal with the threats? Over to you, Gaurav, sir.
So I think cybersecurity is real and is here. I mean, look at for last 2.5 years, where there've been a lot of cybersecurity threats coming to an organization. I know organization, I don't want to name them, where data has been just swept away from them. And it's I mean, I was reading one of the reports some time back. It says that it's going to be the cybersecurity crime is going to cost close to $6 trillion by end of 2021. So we are, just imagine the number here, $6 trillion. It's a huge number, right? And I think, as I said, cybersecurity is real and is here. The thing is that this becomes more relevant and more important to talk about in this scenario purely because we are working from home. I mean, yes, there are organizations who have who have gone back to the office, who have gone back to the physical world. But still, there are organizations, around 80% of the organizations are still working from a home scenario. And that's where this cybersecurity and cyber threat becomes real. And, it is not only the data or the money that gets lost in this scenario. It's I would say, it's the reputational harm for an organization. I mean, imagine, an organization going through a cybersecurity attack. That's a reputational harm. The other thing is, the theft of your intellectual properties. The theft of your crucial data. I mean, if I think if I might just take 10 seconds away from the real question, I think there was a question some time back. It says, what will be the gold mine in the next 20 years? Somebody said oil. Then the other guy said, no, it's not going to be oil, it's going to be data, right? So imagine the data getting away from you. So that's cybersecurity we are talking about. And I think that's where organizations really need to spend in specific areas. Specifically in developing their IT infrastructure. Spending, I mean, Mr. Kaushik talked about it, Anish also talked about it, how companies have actually invested in digital marketing in terms of, getting more customers, more demand. But at the same point of time, if organizations do spend in the IT infrastructure, I personally believe we can actually try and avoid and maybe delay the whole process, right? So that's what I feel about cybersecurity. I'm sure, and that's a great thing because, we've got speakers from FMCG, we've got speakers from insurance, online and, online pharmacy startup. So I'm sure they'll agree with me in terms of how cybersecurity threats are so real at this point.
Definitely, sir. As you rightly said.
I just want to add one thing there. We have a product which goes hand in hand with the cyber insurance. So when cybersecurity stops, the insurance gives you the protection just in case any hacking takes place. So you are covered.
So just to add, Mr. Subir, I'm talking prevention is better than cure. You're giving me a cure. So yeah, perfectly matching the products. Yes.
Thank you, Gaurav sir. And so just like Gaurav said, data is definitely going to be the oil in the upcoming years, and $6 trillion, that's definitely a big amount. Thank you, Gaurav sir. Yes, moving forward. So not everyone are very tech savvy and not everyone are very used to technology. It has its own set of pros and cons. Talking about which I'd like to understand from the panelists, what are some of the biggest challenges faced by the entrepreneurs in terms of adopting to the new digital normal? So some of the biggest challenges that the enterprises face while adopting to the new digital normal, I'd like to start with Vikram sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Muthu. So the biggest challenge we saw was, our entire financial transaction model in the business was like we were around 20% online and 80% was physical payments. Every time we had to take the approvals and the payments is to be done. But just post last Diwali in the year 2020, we converted almost 98% financial transactions online, because the payments, once if the payments are not cleared, your vendors are not happy to send you the goods. There are certain advances you have to make. So I think we are saving a lot of time in financial transactions. So that is one very big thing which has happened. But in the first 6 months of the year, we really faced this issue that we had to be online regarding financial transactions. Second was that the biggest challenge we faced or was that there was no proper infrastructure at the employee level. So the company had good infrastructure, but we never thought that the thought process never came that employees also have to be properly equipped with regard to infrastructure at their home. And we have to understand the real value of human resource. So the HR section was neglected. So that gave us a lot of learning. And I also have the suggestion to everybody listening to this video that please have a proper HR division in your company. And HR division should not have a small plaque in your company saying this is HR division. It has to be functional. It has the proper follow-up has to be there. And employees are a critical part of our organization. So you have to take super care of them. So these are the biggest two learnings and the problems also which we faced. And thankfully we have emerged out of it.
Okay. Thank you, Vikram sir. As I said, human resources definitely needs a lot of attention like never before. And yes, digital transaction did had been a little challenge for a lot of small and medium-based industries. Yes, over to Kaushik sir. Kaushik sir, are you with us?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Audible?
Yes,
yes.
yes.
Our worries add revenue to others. Especially we make sure all of my channel partners and all of my members, grassroots level, all the people should have a additional system of data at home as well as doing the traveling. So we spend a lot of money. We have to substantiate that cost to a lot of people, and that add a lot of revenue loss to our company. And this is, we make sure. And prior to pandemic, we were using a sales software implanted to each of their smartphones. Each of the sales team has the smartphones. But they are giving an excuses that while they're moving, they don't have access to that software because of data issues. Now what happened? Automatically, post-pandemic, they started accepting that data accessibility is there. I don't know whether it's a psychological change or purposefully they were using that data accessibility is not there. I'm not sure. But that add to a value to our organization that each and every people, wherever they travel, we have access to them. And all our sales movements, each and every sales movement, revenue movements are intact, directly get notified at our HQ. So that is an advantage, and it has become a part of business. We are very confident in that. That we are no worries. And as Gaurav says that how much cyber security we are proved with. Each of the data system, each of our systems are well equipped and well protected from any kind of threats. But always there are, what do you call this? We are not satisfied as of now, because always there can be an effect and threat every moment. We are ready with that till date. That is what I'm saying.
Thank you. Thank you, Kaushik sir. Is over to Subir sir to understand your perspective.
Yeah, I think main two challenges was infrastructure. It could be IT infrastructure, it could be general infrastructure, as well as the data security. Like as Vikram said, like, we realized in a lot of cases, even if we providing the laptop and other things, sometimes the broadband doesn't work. And there was like load shedding. You have no control over load shedding. And I think in a particular section in Calcutta last year, there was some flood. So for continuous 3-4 days, a few people like of our companies, they couldn't get online. And that was, kind of understanding that we are to some extent helpless. And then again, when you are in an office setup, what happens is you can actually give restriction to an IP address, and Bora will know better to certain things, server and other things you can access. But when you are the same person, when they want to access it from home, it's a dynamic IP and other things. There are a lot of challenges, and actually it opens up a loophole, an IT loophole or security loophole a little bit, and you have to be doubly secured to that. So I think in general, this lockdown or work from home situation is good, provided we get a good infrastructure in place from IT and in general as well.
All right. Thank you, sir, for that input. Yes, Anish sir, I'd like to listen from you.
Yeah, so I think it has already been covered, most of the points. So I can better skip this question.
Okay, right. So again, moving forward, the strategies that we involve. I think this time, Anish sir, I think I will start from you. The strategies, there are a lot of strategies that were deployed from the CEO's end during the pandemic to ensure that the business is still running, or the business is still very productive. Talking about which, I'd like to understand from Anish sir, what was that one thing that worked very well for your business, which you would like to share to the others? Anish sir, are you with us?
I think he's not able to hear it.
Anish sir, can you, am I audible? Like one thing that worked well for your business, which you would like to share? All right, I come back to Anish in a bit. Yes, Vikram sir,
Yeah,
over to you.
thank you, Muthu. So I will not answer your question with regard to technology point of view. So you see, pandemic happened, nobody was prepared, and once we started, so what kind of benefits we got? The biggest benefit we got because of our goodwill in the market. You see, as an entrepreneur, you have to have a super relationship with your vendors, with your customers, with your bankers, with your investors. So the last decade, the efforts which we had spent in the last 10, 11, 12 years, that paid us post-pandemic. So then we realized that the goodwill in the market, you're dealing with the vendors, you're dealing with the entire ecosystem has to be very, very transparent and fair. The commitment level has to be super high. You cannot make excuses. So once we started, we were absolutely in touch with the entire, each and every person in the ecosystem. So that 10 years, 1 decade of hard efforts, it actually paid us a lot. So I'll stress upon the second point, which helped us a lot, was as an entrepreneur, I believe that you have to be humble. You have to be super humble. So we were never the page 3 guys in the business, spending a lot of money in the marketing, wasting a lot of money in the marketing, throwing out lavish parties. We were not in that section. So that helped us a lot.
Okay.
So I'll just complete 3 to 4 points very quickly. As an entrepreneur, I believe your lifestyle cost has to be very, very low. So you need not overspend in a lot of activities which are not required. Fourth point was that we always went very deeper in the subject of the product. The product which we are delivering has to be a very good product. You cannot just sell it by strong marketing. So micromanagement in the product helped us a lot. Once we started the product, since the product was very good, up to the mark, so we did not have much complaint in the product in the past. That helped us to fetch fresh sales in the market, And fifth point, which I would like to stress, is that as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, as a CEO of the company, you have to be in the continuous learning process. So we were never short of learning. We always used to feel that we do not know anything in the business. We started with this notion. So maybe introduction of any new product, maybe learning of any new technology, maybe understanding new subjects from the technical people, from the engineers, from the architects, from the other external ecosystem. So the openness to the learning system actually helped us a lot. So once we started, we saw that these benefits actually took us ahead.
All right. Thank you, Bikram sir.
Thank you.
Yes, requesting the participants to have a check on your timing since the time is pressing. Is over to Kaushik sir.
Yeah, in a very short, our strategy is very candid and very clear. We want to make sure that all the products get immunized in terms of what kind of value addition we can put in our food products. We have started mentioning on our packs, and that worked very. People has become more conscious, health conscious, immunity conscious, conscious about product attributes. It was. I'm not saying that it was not there. It was there only for the rural, urban customers. Now what happened? Even the rural consumers, I mean semi-urban consumers, asking us how strong, immunity strong the product is. What are the process you maintained while you're producing this product? So we have a plan, and we are talking with Ministry of Food that we want to add on these specifications on the pack so that people become more conscious. That gives an added advantage. People are now starting awareing that the food products have that much of quality consciousness among the consumers. And for us, that makes consumer acquisition much more faster, much more stronger. That's all.
Thank you, Kaushik sir, for that valuable input. Yes, over to Subir sir.
I think we can all agree that working from home could be anything but exciting. So when particularly from the salespeople, salespeople want to get excited, they are competitive, they want to challenge each other, and that's how they live on. And when they're working from home, that kind of probably pulling each other leg, bragging, I have done this thing. So those things are missing. And what we thought, what could excite the entire team and particularly the sales team, we just launched a new competition called Indian Policy League. IPL, GIPL, IPL. And we talked like, you are making these sales, you scored this much run, you make a 6, you make a 4. Even we started making people out. If you catch somebody doing wrong, so it's a run out, it's a stamp out. And everybody has a run associated with it. And then individually, and at the end of the day, how much the team is scoring. So each leader, they're trying to compete. Okay, end of the week, we have a prize, we have a things. So that actually excited the people. So I think, this is something I thought, to get the excitement, to make sure, people are feeling, working from home is a very, very boring thing. So they can, come up with that and perform. So I thought, that's something, we did. I think it worked for us. And yeah, that's it.
IPL in business, definitely a good idea. And I can't imagine why it didn't work out. Wonderful, Sumit sir. Yes, Anish sir, happy to have you back.
Yeah, I think it's ironical that we are on this chat about pandemic and how we are doing work from home. And I think this is one of the pitfalls. Your internet can suddenly go off. I'm so sorry for that.
Not a problem,
I did not hear your question at that point in time. Could you please repeat?
One thing that worked very well for your business during the pandemic, which you would like to share to the others?
One thing that really worked well for us, I think the fact that we are in the pharmacy industry and there was a fundamental shift of the consumer preference, the online adoption was good. Apart from fundamental factors, things that we did was on a business model front, you see that whatever business you can be in insurance, or you can be in foods, you can be in real estate, or like pharma. I think disruption has happened everywhere. What has worked well for us is that we have been open to criticism. We have been open to self-criticism, I would say. We have looked into what has, why that first quarter that did not go well for us in some terms of supply, because, these kinds of risks can once again come about. So this is the reality this time around, that koi bharosa nahi hai, yaar, wapas aa sakta hai, theek hai? So second lockdown, third lockdown can happen. So what changes can you make to the business model that the effect could be minimized? And that is what we did. We brought in the contact center immediately. Earlier, only our franchisees were taking the orders in all the semi-urban rural belts. And I think our team has been more open in adopting all newer things more than ever. I think earlier I was very close to the fact, and like how I told you some time back, that we should only be a office first business. And we could be, because we were pharmacy, police had allowed us everything. But to a great degree, we were also work from home meanwhile. And this opened up the idea, and I think the team has become much more flexible now. That has worked for us.
Wonderful, wonderful. So we really had a lot of different strategies. We had
One thing I would like to add at personal
yes.
level.
Can you make it quick, sir? Yes.
One thing, and very serious about it. Don't take it as a dose here. We at the micro level, what we have learned during this pandemic, apart from being business, we can live without domestic help. That is very important.
Okay. Thank you, Kaushik, sir. Yes. So this had been really a very interesting and a productive panel discussion so far. Like, right from the start, we had a lot of people with different insights. But at the end, I think one thing which we all have to agree is this pandemic really taught us how to survive even in the worst of the cases, and it has intrigued the level of productivity and the adoption of technology as well. And having said that, I would like to invite Gaurav sir for a brief closing remark for today's session. Over to you, Gaurav sir.
Thank you, Muthu. Thank you, and really want to thank all of the panelists, especially I don't want to name, but Vikram sir, thank you for highlighting the point of being humble as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I mean, this is something that I'm going to take away very clearly from your chat, Mr. Subir. I'm going to take away an IPL, and I'll try and use that IPL in my marketing strategies maybe going forward. Mr. Kaushik, clearly I want to thank you for your your candid comments and your very real comments in terms of how the urban rural sector is actually behaving in terms of FMCG market. Anish, I really want to take away the 10 to 15% of mobile usage, which has actually gone up in terms of ordering. So great session. Thank you very much, Muthu, for organizing this and hosting this so beautifully. And as I said, I'm also a marketing person, so it was great to learn from different industries, from different CEOs of the organization, and would really want to connect again with you. And looking forward to have another session with you very soon.
Thank you, Gaurav sir, and thank you so much, panelists, for joining with us today and staying with us